And like sometimes the relationships that you are introduced to, it might not be the most genuine because people know you just for your art and they don't understand everything that's going on in your life. And like again, like I said, we're not robots. And imagine just starting conversations with just what you're doing and not who you are. It's no real connection, it's no foundation. So it makes you want to recuse yourself from any situation related to it because it's like, man, like I'm going through this, and this, and all they care about is this, and this. And right now, I just need to breathe.
Gosh. Okay. Hey, what's up, everybody? Yeah, I guess welcome to the second or kind of first episode of Devine Chaos. Today I have a really special guest because he's not just like an amazing artist, but he's also a friend of mine for I think 4 years now, 4 years or
It's
something.
2018.
2018, so
Yeah,
something like that. I'm
yeah.
really bad at math, you know that. He has actually been featured on the oh my gosh, MLB Show 23. He was born 1998 in Fort Worth, Texas. Yes, I practiced this before. And yeah, I thought he would be a pretty perfect first guest because we always have like these perfect like we would, yeah, maybe we should just start about how we even like get to be friends, I guess. So he hit me up in, yeah, 2018 about some cover art work basically, and I was super excited because back then I never did any cover art or anything like that. It was like the biggest dream. So thanks again for making that dream come true back then.
Thank you.
And then I think someday, like we were just like kept on talking over the phone and like promoting each other. And then one day I had like a really bad day of like just the regular artist struggle, basically. And we hopped on the phone and like started talking for like I think like an hour or something. And he would just like, yeah, talk me up and everything. And from then on, we had like semi regular FaceTime calls and would drink coffee, a lot of coffee.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
Even
how are
cheers
you?
over
What's
FaceTime.
up?
You said what?
How are you?
Oh, I'm real good, chilling. I'm an early bird, so it's early up here. So I try to get up with the sun. So we cool and drinking coffee and we on a podcast.
Yeah. Finally, we finally made it happen. Oh my God. But yeah, so this will be, I think this episode will be kind of different maybe from the others because we've known each other for a really long time, which I think is really cool.
Yeah,
And I know already lots of stuff that we're probably going to talk about. But I think this is perfect because we're just gonna have like a regular conversation like we always do.
no, for real.
Um, but yeah, maybe for like the other people, how did music start to influence you? I mean, you've been doing music for like for since forever, I feel like.
Yeah, many like a decade of my life, pretty much. I think it started like when I was younger. I would just like listen to music in the back seat of my mom's car. Like, you're a kid, you got to go wherever your parents going. You don't have a choice. That's just that's the downside of being a kid. You got to just coexist in an environment you have no say so over. So like my mom had
Basically,
good
but
music
hey,
taste
we've been
before.
talking about this like all the time, like that the moments that basically put us through all these things. I mean, we've been talking about this a lot,
Yeah.
that we had to basically ask ourselves different questions than other people had in our age or something. And we've been learning from these lessons so much, and with these questions that we had to like ask ourselves came the whole like artist lifestyle basically. Like we, yeah, it just kind of became our escape or whatever from the reality we basically like created for ourselves. Not saying like we both grew up in like horrible conditions or anything,
Yeah.
like not at all, but to kind of like to make the world make sense to ourselves when we were kids, you know,
Hmm.
Like you said, like the environment back then, it shaped us. But yeah, we find always like these little things in our like daily life that just brings us peace. And I think,
Exactly. You're right,
yeah.
man. Like, man, it's luckily, man, I'm just blessed for whatever, came my way. And my mom, she was just musically inclined too. Like, she had just play stuff on the radio while we was in the back seat, me and my brother. And then it was like this one specific song that really came on. It was a Slick Rick song. I don't know if you're familiar with Slick Rick, but
Yes,
it
I
was
am.
yeah, children's story. So it's something that stuck with me because he was talking about like a story. Like I could hear his lyrics and I could see it in my head. And I was growing up, I always like to watch movies and stuff, and I like to follow the storyline and the plot of what was going on. So just seeing that or just listening to it and seeing it visually in my head, coming up with my own like film in my head, basically, essentially, I think that's what led me to really take note of music. And then there was another song that was around as well too. It was like "Can't Get Enough" by J. Cole. Like that was around as well too. So I think that's probably what did it, like for sure.
Yeah, I that is amazing to like I don't know, I feel like when we're kids, we often have like moments are so much more we like soak in so much more from like simple moments or like simple songs or like influences that we have because there's just not so much that we have to think about like than we're later, and we also don't judge about anything, so we're like for example when you come into a room you like see everything and you like soak everything in and you're like interested, and because you don't have to think about too much, like for me my parents also were like super like my parents love music but they were in a whole different direction, which is kind of funny. They were like listening to Pink Floyd and like rock and metal and everything, but I remember when I was also like I must have been really young, I saw, do you know Aha, Take on Me? Okay, but it's
No,
basically
no. Okay, what?
it's the song is called Take on Me by Aha. You probably know it, like look it up later, or I can like maybe even put it on my phone right now because I know you know it. It's like one of those song basically just I don't know. But the music video to it had like it was like a comic in the like it was newspaper and a woman was sitting in a diner and looking at like a newspaper, and there was like a comic in the newspaper and it came to life basically and pulled her into like the yeah like the newspaper basically, and then everything was like comic and stuff, and I just thought it was so like I thought I was like the coolest thing ever. Like, and yeah, like that was for me, for example, like a moment where like something like I just became so like obsessed with like the whole art behind it, like the combination of like music and art and how you
Yeah,
can like basically create a world, like you just said, you know what I mean? Like just create something that makes you feel something because we also talked about that a lot, like music and art, like a combination of it or something. You don't get a say into what you're feeling, like it just happens and you basically have to accept it.
exactly. I think that's what it is too, man. Like it's supposed to be used as a form of expression. So it's like if you're able to express yourself within the art, or if some type of art gravitates towards you and resonates towards how you feel, I think that's what makes you appreciate it. You know?
Yeah. And I feel like it's also funny because sometimes we see a piece of art or listen to a song in a certain life situation or whatever, and we don't feel like we can resonate, or we do resonate but in a different way than how we resonate like in a year from now, and it always gives you something else, and that's just like art, music, it's just amazing, man, like
Nah, definitely. I don't know if I'd be here without it.
I definitely kind of wouldn't, let's just be honest, like art is for me like I, I feel like us artists we just have to create to like just express ourselves. But I also feel like lots of people think that like there are different ways of expressing ourselves. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
expressing our purpose, basically. Like, there's so many more artists out there that would never consider themselves an artist, which I think is sad. But yeah, I just think it's amazing that also that's something I'm really grateful for with social media, actually. Like,
Mhm.
just us two right now, for example, like being able to talk and connect, that would have been possible, like, whatever, 50, 20 years from ago. You know what I mean?
Exactly, and that's some of the pluses of social media. It definitely has pros and cons, but that for surely is a pro. Like without social media, there's no way me and you would be able to do what we're doing right now. And
Yeah.
that's just point blank. But like at the same time, like with social media comes comparison and measuring. Like, and I feel like that's the cons that come with it. Like it makes artists like us like it makes us like look at ourselves a little too deeply sometimes, when really sometimes it just be surface level. It don't even have to be that deep. So I feel like it's like a balance you gotta find within your intake of social media is some type of balance that you gotta establish. Because if you don't, then you can go off the rails.
Yeah, like I feel like it's an amazing marketing tool for some parts, but that's
Mhm.
exactly also what it is. Like, we're not content creators, we're artists, and if somebody never sees our art, we're still artists, basically. If nobody ever listens to, for example, a song of yours, or and you keep creating them but you don't post them, you're still a musician or something, you know? But yeah, I also think, and we both have talked about this because we have been struggling in the past years, like the algorithm with like, oh yeah, you have to like post once a day or this or that. It influences our art so much. And like, even though when we don't want to, I feel like, especially our age, but even like the people that are younger than us, like we both grew up still not being, like, we grew up basically without a phone until we were like, I don't know, I think I got my first phone when I was like 11, but you could not do anything with it. You could like
Yeah.
send like text messages with it, you know, whatever was it. Um but yeah, like the younger generations, they don't even know like how life without a phone basically works. So I'm really grateful for that. But yeah, like to basically have to work after an algorithm. I had definitely had times where I was like, oh damn, I didn't post anything in like a week. I need to create or something. But true creation, or how we both, like how we talked about it, was always like we want to like catch a moment, a true feeling of it. We
Mhm.
don't want to create for something. We like want to create for the truest, rawest feeling that we have in the moment, and then make a song, then create an artwork. Like, for me, like pain, when I'm in a really like emotional pain or something, I
Mhm.
create my best work. But I also hate to record myself while I do that because maybe I'm crying. I don't know. Like,
And
you
it
know?
doesn't seem genuine too. Like it makes it seem like it defeats the purpose. Cause it's like, some things like some art is supposed to be done in private. So when you bring it to light, it has more of an impression. Like, yeah, we're not robots. We're not robots.
Exactly.
Like we're human beings and we got feelings, and like sometimes it takes time alone to deal with those emotions. Like, and if you don't have that time, then do you ever really get through that emotion? Like you don't. Like I feel like that's what art is for me and you, especially like you said, I make some of the best work when I'm at my lowest, because because I'm digging deep within, and it's like, man, it's just I can't even explain the feeling after you get done with whatever it is that you're doing, because it's like you can't explain it to anybody, but you know what it is for yourself. So if somebody can understand what it is, then it's something that they felt that was similar, and that's what really leads to that connection. Like
Yeah.
imagine doing something and then somebody doesn't respect where it came from because they can't feel that emotion, nor they never will experience that emotion. So I feel like that's where social media kind of it gives you it makes you want to put a thumbs down on it, because it's like, this isn't for you to begin with. This is me sharing my art, and if it makes sense, then shit, apply it.
Yeah, like if it resonates with somebody
Mm-hmm.
and however they perceive it, they may have gone through some totally different situation, but they still resonate with what you're saying, with how you're feeling and anything. And so yeah, like it's just like a battle on social media that just basically doesn't make sense because it's not made for artists. But I think also that's why it's so important for like I don't want to always say like especially these days or something, but that for example, okay, like nobody knows that, but we have never met ever. But I would
Mm-hmm.
personally consider you like a really good friend of mine because like we have these talks and we're open to each other and we can talk about these things. And I I think it's really hard when you're an artist that lives with all that pressure of social media, for example, and of like not being understood and how to like basically what you just talked about and not having anybody that can relate to these feelings and in their own way, in their total own way. And which is really ironic because like we met over social media to
Mm-hmm.
complain over the algorithm of social media, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think it's really important to have a certain community as an artist. It doesn't matter what kind of artist, just if you like put your feelings into something you wanna not just make a living out of, but like wanna make the main thing in your life basically.
Exactly. And if anything, if this social media is an indication of anything, I think it shows you that problems are universal. Like it doesn't just happen in one area, one concentrated area. No, this is scattered everywhere in every single continent. Like, you know, love and struggle, that's gonna be around the whole world. And it's like you choose what you want to deal with. Like, but at the same time, just being open and honest with one another, that's a language within itself, like that everybody can understand and translate. Like you bro, all right, say for instance, you see somebody crying, maybe I don't speak the same language. That person's hurt. I understand that they're hurt. You see somebody laughing and giggling, that person's happy. I don't know what they're saying, but I can tell they're happy. You can like emotions is a language within itself, bro. Like you can just look at somebody and be like, wow, like I understand what they're going through at this exact moment. I don't even need to hear them say a word. Like that's the beauty of it, bro. Like this is it's universal, bro. Like that's the indication of every social media to me.
I think that's beautiful. Like that is really beautiful. Like you said something really interesting there, I think. Like we choose basically, you know. And I've been the past months also in the process basically of like I've always pressured myself of like oh posting an algorithm on this and that, but then I was like okay, if I want to see change because we all hate
Mm-hmm.
artists hate the algorithm and I cannot speak for everybody there of course, but I think I speak for mainly everybody that algorithm really sucks. And that yeah, and I was like okay, but I'm still the one who's making the decision that it kind of controls me and my art. And I know that the people who will get it will still or like want to support me will still support me if I'm not posting every week a new album or whatever album a new artwork or whatever, you know. And yeah, I think what you said about like choosing what to do with it, like if you want to see change, the algorithm wants us to be on there. Like these apps, they want us to be on there. So we can, if we're just not going to play by their games anymore, by their rules anymore, and we choose something like to see something different in whatever, like you said, like you love to see in social media, like the universal love, for example, like all those like cute videos that you have that basically like you look into the comment section and it's like wow great now I'm crying because that was so cute or whatever, it was so wholesome,
Yeah.
and you see them having like 1,000 million likes like those comments, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that is really beautiful and like a reminder for like all of us basically,
You
that we're still
you
in
said
charge.
something very interesting as well too. Like, all right, so just think about it, man. Like, just think about how we consume like music and art back then. There was no algorithm, wasn't any of that, right? So basically, imagine trying to do that now. Like you said, it's gonna be people who still gonna appreciate your art, regardless if you're posting every day or if you're not. Because if they like what you do and who you are, that's not gonna matter. So it's like if it's real art, it's gonna be there regardless. Like you don't have to be in their face all the time because they're gonna appreciate your work when they see it because they know the time and effort that you put into it. People can tell when you take your time with something and they appreciate that because you're trying to give them your best product. Like and content, I feel like is rushed and it's like you can't give your best product if you're just trying to post something every day. That's half-ass effort. So that's how I see it. And just the type of person that, we're kind of introverted, bro. So it's like, why would we forcefully put ourselves in front of people all the time when we know we're introverted? Like, it don't like I done that. Like I already went down that route. It was successful. Like I post every day, like with the for the funk thing, constantly posting and stuff. It was cool. It worked. It was draining. It made me anxious. And overall, I burnt myself out. Would I ever do something like that again? Probably not. Like if I have to like stoop to that level ever again, I don't think I want to do it. Like if that's what it takes every single time, I'm not doing it. Like if nobody ever listens to me or if I never get climb that mountain like that ever again, I'm cool, bro. Cause like I care about me being okay rather than like, all the extra stuff that come with it. Like if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And I want it to be meant to be my way.
Yeah, preach. Nah,
For
like
real,
that's
man.
just like facts. And I feel like lots of people um don't like that's something I've been trying to explain to lots of like people of like that I just have been hanging out with in the past. They're like, "Oh, like but you've done this, that is so amazing." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." Like I see this, yes, like that person, like I'm talking to this one person or this person, or I mean, I've been allowed to like give some of my artworks to like certain people, or I had my first art show. I came home crying because I was like, this, like, my dream just came true, but I feel like shit. Like, I'm supposed to, like, be happy about this and grateful about it, but it's not about, like, what you see everywhere. It's about your
Mhm.
daily life, your daily habits, your, like, what you put into it, how much energy you have left and how much energy is giving it back to you, you know?
Mhm.
Like, I feel like there are tons of different ways how you could like use your energy to create artwork. Like we said, sometimes it's pain, and
Mhm.
we have to release it. It's not like a choice that we like make or something. No, we have to basically release it into um yeah, into an artwork, into whatever. But sometimes it's also it can be everything. Like it can also be joy or something. But yeah, it's so I'm totally on that side. Like I have tried to like put myself into whatever box that was basically like giving me, and I was so 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 unhappy, which is also actually funny because I've always wanted to make this podcast, and you know that I've been talking
Yeah.
about that for a
Yeah.
while.
No, for
But I
sure.
never did it because um yeah, I was so so scared. But leaving, like, just finally I've been doing it, like, just to like being able to do it gives me back so much more energy than because like not doing it took away so much energy because I was like sad, and like not because of this, but I was just in general not in a good like mental space basically because I felt like I was not living the life I wanted to live
Mhm.
by following the algorithm, by doing all these things that you see everybody doing. And yeah, now that I'm finally kind of like broke through like a wall of fear, um, these things have become so much smaller, and of course, it's still a little like cringe when people from your hometown hit you up, and it's like. But on the other hand, it's like, but I'm finally living the life that I really want to live on the
Exactly.
daily basis, and that gives me back so much energy that, yeah, like I'm happier in my daily life. And that's what it's supposed to be.
Exactly. That's exactly what it's supposed to be. Like, I feel like if anything drains you to the point where you feel like you can't be you and you feel just not your normal self, then you gotta step back and figure out what that is that's holding you back. And sometimes you just need time to live. Like that's something I realized too, man. Like I'm not even gonna lie right now. That's just what I've been focused on lately. It's just like music, like the same love I have for music. I still will always have love for music, but the more I climb, the more I realize everything that comes with it, as far as expectations and pressure, and like sometimes the relationships that you are introduced to, it might not be the most genuine because people know you just for your art and they don't understand everything that's going on in your life. And like again, like I said, we're not robots. And imagine just starting conversations with just what you're doing and not who you are. It's no real connection, it's no foundation. So it makes you want to recuse yourself from any situation related to it because it's like, man, like I'm going through this, and this, and all they care about is this, and this. And right now, I just need to breathe. I just want to breathe, and I want to,
Yes.
take that time. Like, I've been reluctant to pick up my pen lately. I just now started picking up my pen and started writing again because every time I would think to just write something, I would just be turned off by the idea of it. Like just because of everything. I'm just like I'm to a point now, it's like, man, like um I just don't know how to feel sometimes about it because it's like, do I want to take it another level and knowing that it's only gonna get hotter and hotter? Or do I just want to stay right here for a little minute and breathe and live and just, wake up? I feel like that's important, man. Like that's something I
Yeah.
just really been practicing, and I'll scribble every once in a while, but I'm just trying to get that spark back, really find that love again, reconnect. And sometimes like talking your community really helps, making sure you have a nurturing community of people who support you in what you do, understand and love you regardless with what you do in your occupation, because without that it's really hard because you can't hold these thoughts in alone because it can be detrimental. And that's something I've learned so many times. Like I'm still learning that lesson over and over. Now that we're on the podcast right now, really just talking about it out loud. This is how I've been feeling. I ain't really talked about this too much with anybody. Well, yeah, man, I'm just trying to reconnect, and it's beautiful seeing other artists, have that spark too. Like it's inspiring. Like I recently went to a listening party for one of my homies. His name is Company. Just seeing the spark and talking about how his struggles throughout his performance and seeing that spark inspired me too. So it was nurturing to my brain to see that, and it's like it was hopeful. Like I don't know, people see certain things happen for you. Like the best things, like I know we talked about it too. Like through our best moments, we felt alone. Like, and that's how I be feeling sometimes. And I don't understand that. Like you can do the hardest things ever and accomplish the biggest things ever, and you still feel like nothing. Like
Yeah, yeah.
because it don't matter
You
if if you're not around the people you love. And yeah, man.
dude, like I you just said so many things where I was just like, yep, yep, yep. I actually had to like write a few things down so I won't forget because my brain. I mean, this podcast is called Divine Chaos, so that's basically my brain.
For
But
sure.
let me go down this list. Yeah. So something that you said was like, first of all, like we have been both talking about this so much about how we get defined by other people for what we're doing. Like we get defined by about the artist thing and they are hyped about it basically and they're like, "Oh, this is so cool," or "Wow, like all of this," but they just don't see the sacrifices that come with it and they don't nurture the person that you actually are. basically. Like it's like, yeah, I've just created this, but I've created this basically because out of like this and this and this pain, this happened. And that's why I had to create it because I didn't have another, for me, another way to express how I felt. And they just see like the end result of the amazing painting or whatever. And they're like, oh, wow, like, but you just did this, like, be happy. And it's like, no, it doesn't work like that. Also, with just like making friends in general or like being going into relationships is so hard sometimes to like not to define yourself. I feel like as that artist because I definitely have been, and I think I actually talked about that in the first episode I uploaded about like how I put my self worth basically on like me because I've become so used to other people seeing me as that artist that I became seeing myself as that artist, and I wanted to do so many different things. Like right now, I started a podcast. I've been doing want to do this for so long, or
Yeah.
photography and everything, but because everybody always saw me as that certain person, I felt like I have to be that person so other people wouldn't like, yeah, wouldn't drop me and like they just loved me for that. Even though like I know some of those people were genuine and actually liked me for me, but it was so hard to even see. Also to like in the artist world deal with jealousy and stuff when you're like,
Mhm.
okay, this is a friend, but why is that person jealous? Like they actually tell you, which is yeah, it's really weird, but he also said like I actually have a friend, and it's funny if he's watching this, like, but he told me once like that he kind of also feels like the bigger you get as an artist, the lonelier you get, which is true because you just go through things that not a lot of people can actually relate to. So I don't know. I feel like the song Stars from JID, do you know it?
Of course.
Yeah, yeah. How
Off his
I'm
new
just saying
album.
this, like, of course he doesn't know it. I don't know, like that song resonates with me on a different level. Like seriously on a different level. I was seeing him just like 2 weeks ago, but I think like it resonates with me so much, obviously in a different way than it resonates with him. But I feel like also lots of people are like if you're an artist, these problems, it doesn't matter if you're a small artist or if you are a Grammy winning whatever artists, like these are our problems, like that he's, for example, talking about in that song. And it's not like, oh, you have to be like super famous to have problems, you know what I mean? Like, no, that's just the way how we're interrogate how we see the world basically.
Mhm.
And it's our escape, and it doesn't matter how big that how yeah how big we are, you know.
Mhm.
But I think it's really beautiful that you said that you're right now focusing on living more than just creating because yeah, I mean, you know that too. I also become like so antisocial and everything because I always had a bad feeling if I wouldn't create. But you need to feel life to be able to create because that's you have to like transform that energy that you're getting basically. And yeah, I think it's really beautiful to like hear because I hope that right now there's kind of a break for like I hope right now I feel like some other artists are like feeling this too, you know, like this year I've been hearing it first from some other people that are like I can't play this game anymore of like whatever I've been doing. And for you, for like for example that you are that example for me, then like me seeing you doing these things and still like creating, but when it feels right, so the art
Mhm.
is first of all genuine, like that you're creating the art, and knowing that you're creating it while you want to create it gives it to me a whole different quality. Like
Mhm.
I'd rather listen to that than knowing, oh, that person just had to create for, you know, because he felt pressured that he had to create.
Mhm. And then, yeah, exactly, man. Like you said, I hope this helps other artists as well, because we're definitely not the only artists that go through this. And I think that's something a lot of artists should do a lot more is, look after one another, because we're neighbors basically. We're in the same occupation, but we're trying to achieve the same goals. So it's like we all in this battle together, and we got to make sure we're all equipped. And if you're not, then you're gonna lose the war before it even start, essentially. So man, I be trying to make sure I'm a tool to anybody around me, bro. Like I got people who don't do music, but they might do some type of other form of art. Like, how can I help them? Like I also do videography, so hey, let me set up a camera for you, and hey man, let me just see if I can help in any kind of way. I know I don't do this, but I can help you do it. Or if you need help, just let me know, because you just never know what that'll mean to somebody. We're all trying to achieve something, and you can't do nothing alone. And I think people should start moving with that type of mindset.
Yes, wow, definitely, definitely. Also, like, I mean, first of all, nobody, people that don't know you, Darian is literally like, it doesn't matter what's going on. He's always helping. He's always trying to like put out the best. Like, I just gotta hype you up here a little because he's really one of the most genuine person I have never met but ever met, you know what I mean? Never met in person, but still, like, this would have, like, the friendship that we have would have not like been able to like build like this if you, for example, would have not been there in the moment that I actually needed your help and to talk to somebody. And yeah, I think it's also like you said something about like just achieving something. And I feel like that's what I meant earlier with like so many more people or artists that don't really realize it. It doesn't matter if you're like paint, if you're a musician, or if you like, I don't know, like want to be the best basketball player, for example,
Mhm.
like just being a high achiever or just have a dream. And it also doesn't really matter if like we should give the same, like in my opinion, the same value to like having a dream or, for example, having a family or as like a safe space or something. That dream is worth as much as like winning an Oscar.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's so beautiful. You just said that we all just need to like how amazing it would be if we like help each other through these things because we're going through this. And this was also like for me the intuition of like making this podcast because I think like or I hope many people or some people or one person, I don't care if it's one person that listens to it for 30 seconds and hears just two lines that will inspire them or like yes, cool, I'm not alone with this feeling and can take some energy of it and move forward in their day or move forward to like achieve their dream or break through like a fear or something. And yeah, I think it's really like what you just said about us having to support each other. I feel like that's just like a different purpose we could all have, you know?
Exactly. You only can get as far as the people around you. You know what I'm
Yep. And
saying?
it's okay. And it's okay to like not getting along with some people, you know? I feel like it's
Hmm.
always like a, oh no, then we gotta not like each other. No, like it's cool to resonate with people and to
Hmm.
like connect with people, but if you don't, that's fine.
Exactly.
You know,
Not everybody
it's
gonna
such a
click. You
hate
just gotta
or
find your,
like
your people.
black and white culture. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like it's always like has to be this big contrast. No, there's a gray zone in between.
You just gotta find your people. Like everybody's not gonna be for you, and that's okay. Like you shouldn't walk around wanting everybody to like you, because that's not life. It's not realistic. It's gonna be people who don't appreciate who you are, and that's cool. You don't have to associate yourself around it. Why would you be around people who don't appreciate you and who you are and what you bring to the table? That's like it's counterproductive to me. Like you just got to be around your community.
Yeah. And the more you are yourself, and it's always still fine to like change who you are yourself. Like we just said, you don't have to define yourself with something that you're doing or whatever. Like you can change, like I, for example, like my style is like I normally don't wear dresses, but if I start to like wear a dress tomorrow or something, Like it doesn't define me.
You don't wear dresses. I ain't never seen you in a dress. You right.
Yeah, I don't think I even own a dress, to be honest, at this point. But it was something I actually thought about because I saw this dress and I was like, oh, what will people think though? And I was like, who cares? I can invent myself every day. Like I can invent myself new. But that's also like a yeah, like the more you are basically yourself or just do the things that you love, like you like it's always this, oh, I'm scared what my friends will say, or like if your friends don't support you in what you're doing, then they're not your friends. Like then they're not that like they're still like they don't have to like it or something, but if they don't support you in what you want to do, I
Mhm.
don't want to tell anybody, oh, those people are not your friends or anything, you know. But then you will like drift off to people who actually like fuck with the shit that you like that you're into, you know?
Mhm.
So I think it's so important to like actually go for the energy, the vibe you want, and because yes, in the beginning it feels like, oh, like people, okay, people cannot see this. Like
Mhm.
it's going into this like a like it feels like a corner you put it into and it's like okay, the walls are closing by. I don't have like people don't resonate with this or whatever, but you don't and that feeling most of the times, I actually have a tattoo with that. You don't see like how many opportunities are actually opening through that you stepped out of that fear. You know? Like you will resonate with those people. They will come because you're being yourself. Like how I think there's like a you attract
Exactly.
you attract what you're being or something, you know?
You said something just a while ago. You said reinvent. So like one thing I've learned too, like you gotta be around people who are okay with you evolving because as human beings, we're not meant to be the same throughout the whole course of our life. So as you grow, you will lose people because they won't be able to comprehend what's going on and they don't like where you're going or the direction that you're going. But at the same time, you're figuring it out just like everybody else, and you're trying to grow and find your purpose and find who you really are. I feel like throughout life, you're always gonna learn something new about yourself and about life, period. Because we're in here, bro. We're all like people. You know what I mean? We're all people. We're all
Yeah.
humans. And we all have our own experiences, and we're all learning different lessons. Or we are learning similar lessons too, but maybe at different times. And you're evolving. What comes with that is evolution. Your mindset changes, maybe your appearance changes, or who like you're growing. That's all it is. And I feel like sometimes people um who tend to look at who you once were, they like that because they have more control over that person that you were. They like to bring you back to those moments maybe where you weren't the best person because hey, this pushes a button for him or something. And they like to make you think about those bad times when you're trying to, grow into like a new mindset, a new person, new image, and you just want to feel better and like invigorated, right? You just want to feel better, bro. Like
Yeah.
so that's one thing I had to learn too. Like I hate people. Well, I don't hate people. Oh wow, whoa,
I
whoa,
was
whoa,
like,
whoa, 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 whoa.
I knew you were correcting yourself as soon as you
Yeah,
said it. Like,
I don't appreciate people who like to bring up things in the past too much because if you're living in the past, then you have no room for the future.
mm,
So
mm.
it's like,
And it's
bro,
so
stop talking about it. Let's leave
yeah,
it
it's like,
alone.
okay, yes, I did that back then a year ago, but you don't
Yeah.
know me. If you knew me a year ago, you don't know me now. As kids,
Mhm.
for example, I think it's so interesting. When you remember when you were like 6 years old, you were like, oh, I'm so excited. Like, I don't know how it will be when I'm 7. I don't know how my life will be when I'm 13. And you're so excited for change. But that just stops at some point because I think also kind of as like society norms because it's like, school, blah 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 blah, and then you have to like decide on a job, like the whole old thing we all know already, you know, like, and I feel like so many people are afraid of changing everything, and oh my god, there's so many things we have already talked about also privately that I kind of want to bring up right now.
Yeah.
First of all, like a lot of people also have oh no, I'm gonna say something else before.
She said,
What you
actually.
said about it's like this is basically how our talks always go. Yeah, so we like sometimes, for example, I kind of had not the best family situation, blah, 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 and school situation. So I basically left and I had to, like we said before, ask myself tons of different questions than other
Mm-hmm.
people had to ask themselves. And when I did that, like I learned so many different life lessons and I could connect to so many different people that were like way older, for example, because they were at that point going through exactly those things. But now I'm kind of like trying to learn the life of like the people that had most normal life lessons at like 19 or something. Yeah, so right now, for example, and that's how also I kind of like drifted off like some friends that are still my true heart friends, and maybe some of them also seeing that, and I'm sending you all the love like ever because they went back then through things that I'm learning right now, and they're learning those things that I had been learning.
Mm-hmm.
And we all like learn lessons at different time frames, and so we can always like connect to somebody. A 6-year-old can connect to maybe like a 60-year-old because that 60-year-old made a life lesson that year that the 6-year-old made like in that year, you know. And I think this is so amazing because there's love basically and connection all around us, and it's so, yeah, incredible. And also we tend to like you said something about like losing people, you know, and a lot of people, they're like, oh yeah, like I lost that person, and it really like in a way of like not like only like, oh, we hate each other now or something, but I feel like it's sometimes it's okay to like, you know, just go different ways. But I felt like society lots of times it's like, okay, we don't resonate with each other anymore, like on the life path or something, and then it's automatically like I don't like that person or something, you know. But it's like, why can we not just all appreciate the growth of somebody else, because these people have to go through those things like exactly how I have to go through certain things myself to actually have the feeling of that and the experience of it, you know? I cannot just,
Exactly.
somebody else can tell me, oh, I went through something similar, but I won't get it until I live through it myself. Like it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make, it won't help, you know?
Mm-hmm. Experience is the best teacher.
And
That's why
oh,
that is.
something we also talked about, sorry, like I didn't want to cut you off.
You good?
But something we also talked about was how lots of artists especially get like blamed for when they're like doing like a different type of music all of a sudden. Remember that when we talked
Mm-hmm.
about that? Like it's so crazy to me because I mean, I get it. Like there's a certain fan base that, for example, like Russ's work was like a lots of times had like the same vibe and people loved it and everything. But if you if people who listen to music, for example, want the music to be true and real from the heart of that person, the person is gonna change. And if the energy is not in the like actual process, if it feels fake, the music, like if artists evolve,
Mm-hmm.
and because they change, they go through different life experiences and make music or art of that what actually moves them. And
Exactly.
yeah, and like it like also social media and just like society in general is like lots of times like, oh, they've changed, yes, they've changed, that is amazing, you know
It's
what I mean?
good.
Yeah, but
Like
like, yes,
social
you
media.
rap and now you don't opera. Is
Mm-hmm.
it called opera? I don't opera. I don't know how to call it in English.
Yeah, Oprah, you
You're
was right.
doing
You hit
classical
it.
music, whatever.
No, you said it
I
right for
said
sure.
opera.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's so hard for some people to like understand that we have to change. Like, if we're not changing as an artist, they might be something wrong with the way
Change is
we're
the only constant in life. Like if you're not changing, then you're stagnant. And who wants to be in the same spot their whole life? Like
Some people do, but it doesn't help your self growth or
it
your
doesn't.
like. It probably won't make them happy. I cannot speak for them, but
And and don't get me wrong, it's definitely okay to like because I'm a person I enjoy the simple things in life. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to have the most extravagant stuff ever, But I want to live comfortable. You know what I mean? And I know in order to have the lifestyle that I want, it requires change. You know, you have to change, like, and grow and just learn. Like, if you're unable to do any of those, then you're not gonna get anywhere, and you're just gonna be bitter, angry, hateful, resentful, and all the above. And who wants to be like that? Like, that's how you make yourself sick. Really, people get sick, and like, because of how they feel. It starts with your brain first, and then your body goes next. Like, you know what I mean? Because our bodies are just puppies, bro. Like, our brain is like a motherboard, and it controls our
Exactly.
bodies and stuff, bro. Like,
And your body just like notices this like stress that comes with like being
mhm,
stagnant, basically. It's like, this is not right. And stress is like the biggest killer of everything. Like, it actually,
exactly.
like, I'm not a doctor, but it like gives you like heart diseases and all of that stuff. Like, so many sicknesses that actually like come from stress. And
Hmm.
yeah, like you said, it's about like the simple things, like about how you're feeling in that exactly moment, and like that change is the only constant. And that's also exactly why I wanted to like the first episode I did was called Finding Comfort in Discomfort.
Hmm.
Because if you're comfortable with always changing and always having like a different, like all of that, then it's not that scary anymore, and you can actually also see those things as it's just like a wire basically you have to
Hmm.
switch. um if you're scared of something, if you are you have like a problem, don't see the problem as a problem, but as an opportunity to change, to grow, to do anything. But we are so wired to like being scared of these things, which is it's also like biological, obviously. Like, and that's nothing bad, but to be aware of these things can change so much for you. Like, it doesn't mean that you always have to like put yourself in a situation you're not comfortable in. Like us, for example, we're both introverts. And I had this moment, I was like in the past months, you know that I'm always like, oh, I haven't been going out again for like however many weeks. And I forced myself last winter to go on a party, like actually forced myself. And I was standing in the middle of it, and nothing against people who like to drink, nothing against, like, seriously, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, everybody them be happy with how
She
you
said,
want
"Go
to.
off."
Yeah, like go off, do whatever. But I was standing in the middle of it, and I was like, what the actual fuck am I doing here? Like, I hate this. This is not me. Like, these are not the people. Like, these are just not my people. This is not how I want to spend my Saturday night. And it's okay to realize these things, and don't put yourself again in that situation. Also, I mean, this can also always change, of course, and maybe I will like going on a party or whatever. But
Hmm.
in a couple of years, and I don't want to define myself like, oh, I'm
She
not
said,
that
"Not right
person.
now.
Yeah,
We're
but it's
okay right now."
okay, you know, like
Nah, I feel it. I definitely feel it, bro. Like, even with me, bro. Like, yo, when I get out and leave the house, like, I have a social battery. Like, I have to charge it, and when it goes down, then I leave. Like, I can't be somewhere and not be in the mood to talk, bro. Like, I know this sounds really, really bad, but like, I really have to like prepare myself to talk to other people. Like, if I know I'm gonna be around a bunch of people within a day, yo, I gotta prepare for that mentally, because that's just a lot of personalities and energies that I have to like juggle around with, and sometimes it can be draining. Like,
yeah.
I
You don't
don't
have
know.
to like feel bad about that or anything. It
Yeah.
doesn't sound bad at all. It just sounds what I think it's amazing, and I like thank you for that. Like, honesty. It's just like honest, because I have that too. Like,
Yeah.
going out or something, just in general, being active, whatever, with people, and not just being in my own world. Some people get the energy of like talking to other people, and some people don't. And for me, it's also really draining to like talk to some people. Other with some people you don't have that much, with other people you do. But yeah, it doesn't sound bad at all, seriously. And also what I think is actually horrible of me is like I'm that person if I don't want to be somewhere, I go. And it's like other people have always this feeling of like, oh no, I have to be here for this and this person, and I just at this point I know when I'm more of a burden than
Hmm.
that I could actually bring anything to the situation, and I feel like so often I just feel so selfish about like, oh no, I gotta go. I'm sorry. I got my routine. If I don't get my routine, I'm going crazy, and you don't want to see that, you know, like.
No, for real. They're gonna be like, who is this person? I'm like, hey man. Like, cause bro, like appearance wise, I'm real chill, bro. But like when I do get too anxious and frantic, it don't be the best sometimes, bro. Like I don't know. I can put myself in the worst mood ever if I allow myself to, and that's something that I've been working on, bro. Like I try to make sure I know what to do when I feel like I'm getting into those different modes and stuff. Like because it is you got to prepare for those situations and like you know when it's about to come too, and you gotta move accordingly.
Yeah. And that's also like something really wise though, I think, to like you're basically you know these situations come and they're not to be avoided. Like life will have these moments where it will be like that. And this is something though that we both have since we were like young, basically, that we've have been introverts like that. And even though if we're social when we're with people doesn't mean it does bring us energy. So like finding basically like mechanisms we can work with to like not making this like yeah, like that we're actually trying to work on that in the way of how we can still deal with the world because those situations will happen and we cannot avoid it. But yeah, I think, I mean, I called this the podcast Divine Chaos because I feel like this is exactly what growth also shows. You know, you're like trying to learn, you're trying to like become better at these things, and it's it's all chaos. We can always
Yeah,
feel like different in certain situations, you know what I mean? And trying to juggle so many things and this for example as well, but that's also just like beautiful to like being able to like learn from that situation because this also teaches us, both of us, like I'm like if I can say it like that, like teaches us a lot, you know, like being having to be in certain situations where we don't feel comfortable. And it teaches us so much about ourselves, but also about other people. And yeah, just how, yeah, that even those moments where we don't feel comfortable come with like something that is really good.
hmm it comes with growth.
Yeah, it comes with growth. Everything comes with growth. I mean, exactly how like how our lowest moments or how the stuff that we thought we could never go through or something, after we went through it, it's like because of this, I was just able to do this. And if this bad thing would have not happened, and you also know that, I always hate to like say, oh, this is bad and this is good, because it's like, who defines what is good and bad? Like, the worst, accordingly to other people's situations, had brought me the best moments. So, who can say that this moment was actually that bad? I may didn't feel comfortable in the situation, but at the end, I would have not want to miss it, you know?
Hmm. You'll be all right. I just realized, bro, this whole episode they're probably gonna be like, what is he looking at? Like because I got my monitor above my laptop, so I'm looking at my monitor. So it looks like I'm looking towards the ceiling, bro. Like, and I'm not. I'm
No, I
looking
saw.
towards the monitor for everybody watching.
That's so funny. It's like, well, by the way, I gotta explain I
Yeah.
gotta explain this so nobody thinks I'm weird. But I have actually the same problem because, so this is the first episode we're recording, everybody, and I think everybody knows at this point. But I always I mean, I feel like everybody has this, like when you're FaceTiming, for example, like, am I looking at myself so I know I don't look like trash? Or do I
Exactly.
look at the person or whatever? So I've been also like
Exactly.
switching back and forth and then looking, like I also have like a camera set up there and then looking at my coffee and like,
No, for real. I'll be looking at my coffee often.
yes, because it is our best friend. Coffee is our best friend.
For real. I'm gonna refuel after this. For sure. I
Yep,
drunk it all up. Oh, I got a little swig left, but it's probably cold.
mine is
Undesirable now.
full for sure. But it's actually good because over here it's 5 p.m. and you know myself, me and sleep, we are definitely not friends. And I can say that with like, no, that's actually something really good though, because I was never able to sleep. And I think without my sleeping problems, we would have never become that good of friends because I was always up at the middle of the
No,
night.
for real. It'd be morning time. And I was always up early in the morning.
Yeah. Damn, honestly, like, again, like this conversation, even though we're having these conversation basically like on a semi-regular basis, like it's just so amazing how much energy I already got off this, even though we
Hmm.
haven't even posted it, we haven't even done anything with it. It's just we just know that it's happening finally, basically.
No,
And
for real.
damn, that is it is crazy. It is crazy. Like I honestly, because I never really made a schedule for like anything, I was just like Divine Chaos. I can do whatever I want because there's chaos in the name of the podcast. I honestly don't even know how long I was planning on having like all of this, but I think we're at an hour right now. Oh, and you also got to go to work at some point.
Yeah. Definitely that. They're gonna get a skedaddle.
Yeah, that's something, dude. We definitely have to like talk again, though. I feel like, and maybe
Yeah,
talk
most
also
definitely.
about this because so many people always like they just see what's on Instagram, whatever. We do have side jobs sometimes because we have bills to pay as well. And making art, we actually just talked about that earlier. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. And even if
Yeah, we
a
gotta be
reel gets like a
illustrated on
million
that.
clicks, you still don't get make any money off that shit.
Mm-mm. It's a
It's like
struggle.
it's a struggle. It's
Beauty in the
definitely.
struggle, ugliness in the success.
Cold world, cold world.
No, for real. Shout out Cole.
Shout out Cole, shout out Dreamel, shout out Spillage Village, shout out all of those amazing people that inspired us to do this shit and connected people like us because have been listening to the same music and that's how we literally connected. So thank you to all of you guys too. So yeah, I think that's well, thank you, Darian, for coming on.
Anytime. Always though. It's always it's always a privilege talking with you. Like every time we talk, I always feel like I'm learning something, and it made me feel better. Like, every time we get off the phone, I can walk off with a smile and be like, man, I feel so much better than I felt before the call. Like, and I feel like that's important. That's all you know is a genuine like friendship right there. If you can feel better after talking to the person, so I appreciate you and everything you do, and I appreciate who you are.
Dude, don't, I'm emotional, don't make me cry. But yeah, I mean, right back at you. Like, that was the reason why I wanted you to be the first person on here because you are, like I said before, just the most genuine person I have ever not met in real life. But no, like you listen, you actually listen, you try to understand. It doesn't matter if the problem is art related or anything. I can talk to you, and every time we talk afterwards, I'm just like, I don't care what my situation is right now because I know if a person like Darian, for example, like if he fucks with what I'm doing, I know for a fact that I'm not alone, first of all, and I know that I'm on the right track. And you always give me that feeling. And also like, even like right now, I have so much energy to create right now. It is crazy. So yeah, man. Thank you so much. Like there's so much love in all these conversations. It's kind of cheesy.
It's
But
beautiful.
Yeah, I really want to like talk to you again really soon. Like, let's make this like a regular thing for sure.
Let's do it.
All right. Okay. Yeah, and for everybody else, I hope we were not too annoying.
No, I think they'll enjoy
All right. Okay. Peace. I'm a press.
it.